the area I'm trying to bring transformation to is help evangelical spaces get clear about the policy in regards to queer people, and then make that policy accessible, public, and incredibly clear regardless of what side they fall on. And so to answer the question, what's one aspect of your problem structural reality that impedes on transformation, is the cultural reality. That there is, I just recently learned about this thing called indecent theology, and indecent theologians intentionally use that word to evoke some sort of emotion, because like in my example, the structural cultural reality is a group of people who they have the power, so they get to define what is decent, they get to define what is sacred or what belongs, and therefore automatically implies anything that doesn't fit in their cultural norm or in that structural reality then is indecent. And what indecent theologians would say is that all theology is embodied, right? We cannot separate our bodies from our experience from God or our what we know about God. And therefore, if I find pleasure or inclusion or love or belonging or sacredness in this way, who are you to define that it's indecent? Because it's who I am, right? Therefore, that is the living God in me and through me. And I love it because then to go to the question about what specific economic policies, in the church setting, economic policies can include money, as in if you have a policy that queer people cannot be leaders, or they can't be pastors, or they can't be clergy. But I also include more than just finances in the economic, but in a church, it's also the economics of influence and of power. And so if you have a policy that automatically excludes people based on their body, right? Because that's what it comes down to. Then you're only saying only these kind of bodies, only these kind of expressions can have access to that power, can have access to that position, can have access to that money. Therefore, obviously, if you can remove that policy, then that position, right, that role is now based on all bodies. It's based on the individual's character, on their ability to walk in a room. Can they demand attention? It goes to their education. It goes to their resume. It goes to their lived experiences. Can they replicate? Have they been able to do this same thing in other spaces before? And what are the results, right? And as we talked about in the video of neoliberalism, always talks about the equality that can be, right? Kicks can in the future. This at least would tie it to the present of how can there be equality now? Because now there's, I mean, in theory, right? I know one policy isn't going to all of a sudden get rid of homophobia that's in the church or transphobia. But for the sake of this argument, right, at least it'd be a starting point of where there would be some actual equality for a body, and no longer having to only allow what that group decides as decent as being able to have access to that economic, to that power and to that leverage.